Absolutely perfect night for baseball here in the Gateway City. It's game number one between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals in a showdown in the NL Central. He's in the lineup tonight, second baseman Skip Schumacher, and his average is now above 300. Thanks to yesterday afternoon, not much was done offensively by the Redbirds, but Schumacher would go 4 for 4 as he drove in the first run of the game. Hit it to right, went to left, went up the middle a couple of times, and with that 4 for 4 performance by Schumacher, his average is above 300 for the first time in months. And along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. You go back about a month ago, and these two teams were looking at contending for the Central Division.
Hard to believe, but it was a three-way tie in the National League Central, all by percentage points. Pirates were leading that time. They have really struggled, 9-21. Cardinals have had their problems. They're 14-15. Pirates have lost 15 and a half games off the pace. Cardinals have lost 10 games, and Milwaukee has been red hot.
Well, we still have over a month to go. What's Tony La Russa telling his guys before the game tonight?
Hey, play hard. Go out there and win this game tonight. This will be the first of a long winning streak, just like Milwaukee went on, and then you hope Milwaukee cools off and someone can beat them, and we can get back in the pennant race.
All right, we're just about set to go. It is game number one tonight. The Pirates and the Cardinals. A look at the righties who will get the start tonight when we come back on Fox Sports Midwest.
Charlie Morton, who reinvented himself as a clone of Roy Halladay, has really blossomed this season. He pitched a gem his first start earlier against the Cardinals, and he had a dominant sinker and ran the ball inside. Edwin Jackson is 2-2 on the season since coming over at the trade deadline. He has pitched very well here at home at Busch Stadium, and the Cardinals are hoping that continues, and we will start a winning streak. Albert Pujols will be in the lineup, and we'll take a look at the big three when we come back.
In Berkman in the month of August, their averages have been pretty good. All of them above 300, but power numbers maybe not out where you'd like to see them.
I think the perception is that they really have not hit much at all, but you can see they're all above 300. There is 12 combined home runs. You'd like a few more RBIs, but the big three are so important to the Cardinal offense. They still lead the National League in most categories.
When we come back, a look at a Hall of Famer, Red Shandies. Can they turn the double play here? The little guys. It's coming back to you. Put down the tag. He's got him. It's a double play. Cards and Pirates coming up.
One of the greatest Cardinals ever to wear the birds on the bat, still at the ballpark today. It's the 8th different decade that he's worn the Cardinal uniform. For more on the Cardinals legend, here's Jay Randolph.
Albert Pujols is one of the most celebrated players in the game. but he might not be the most celebrated Albert ever to wear the birds on the back. Albert Fred Schoendienst went for the nickname Red, and Red was one tough guy. He almost lost an eye while in the Army during World War II, suffered chronic dislocations in his shoulder, and eventually lost part of his lung thanks to tuberculosis, all before his career ended in 1963. Despite all of that, Red helped the Cardinals win the World Series as a player in 1946, as the manager in 1967, and as a coach in 64 and 82. He is currently a special assistant coach for the Cardinals, which means he's worn the Cardinal jersey in 8 different decades. Schoendienst was elected into the Hall of Fame in 1989, and his number 2 was retired by the Cardinals. It seems fitting that Red wore the number 2. Stan Musial said Red had the greatest pair of hands he'd ever seen. Praise from the man is praise indeed.
Budweiser, great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. Along with the Mad Hungarian, Al Rabaski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. A beautiful night for baseball. Game 1 of our 4-game series, the Cardinals and the Pirates. And a look at Clint Hurdle's lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. Tabata, Presley, and McCutcheon. Then Walker, Jones, Harrison, Cedeno, McHenry, and Morton, the pitcher, batting 9th. Edwin Jackson, the right-hander for St. Louis.
A potential free agent after this. He's really pitching well in August. He has the best month of his career, 14-6. Pitched very well here at home. He's 2-0 with a 2.45 ERA at home, and he's also 2-0 in 3 career starts against the Pirates.
And a look at the Cardinals' defense tonight. Holiday, Craig, and Berkman. Freeze for Kyle, Schumacher, Pujols. And the battery is Jackson and Molina after Yachty had the afternoon off. And that's presented by Dobbs. So here we go. We thought there'd be more on the line in this series about a month ago. Both these teams thought that. Instead, both have fallen on hard times. And Tabata is hit by the first pitch. Not the way you want to start.
Well, Tabata is used to reaching base against the Cardinals because he's got a hit in every game he's played against the Cardinals. But here he gets first base the hard way.
Plaza Tire Foxmo here, Al.
Our first pitch of the game, and he just drills him in the shoulder blade. Tabata just came off the disabled list when we were in Pittsburgh last week or so, and just signed a new big contract.
6-year extension. Alex Presley will be the hitter, batting .333, 1 home run, and he's driven in 9. It's 84 degrees, our game time temperature here tonight.
Presley, a slap hitter who was just activated today or recalled from his rehab assignment.
Al, I'm assuming that Tony La Russa, John Mozeliak, they want to see some fire from this club and these individuals before this season is through.
Yeah, you know, Dan, it's real tough. I mean, it's real easy to say they've been playing, you know, with no life or anything, but when you don't hit, there's not a lot of life, and I wouldn't question their integrity, but the results have not been good. But the only thing you can say is let's turn it around. Whether you think you're in the race or out of the race, just play loose, relax, and start winning some games.
Gerald Laird was saying to his teammates the other day in the clubhouse, very similar situation that he was in with Detroit in trying to catch Minnesota a couple of years ago, and they did it. He said there's no reason to think, even though it looks like we're in dire straits, that we couldn't try to make a run, especially with 6 head-to-head with Milwaukee.
And that was really Tony's mindset when last time we were in Pittsburgh, is that, hey, there's been a history of a lot of teams that have had tough times. Remember, used to be Houston would have the great second half finishes. You know, Colorado a couple years ago. So it's, you know, there is history on the side that you can come from behind.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
But the one key is you have to get good starting pitching.
What have you thought of Jackson since he's come over?
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot of intriguing things about him. Physically, you like his presence. He's got a good enough fastball. He's got the breaking ball. The one thing you don't see is the consistency. He's been pretty consistent right here at home. And his last start, seemed like he pitched much better on the road. But there's a reason why he's been with about 6 different clubs. And he's a good guy in the clubhouse. You know, he's a fun person. There's no problem with him that way of being a teammate.
Last time out, 7 innings at Wrigley Field and took the loss. That's popped foul and out of play. Well, yesterday afternoon, temperatures on the field well over 100 degrees, and Skip Schumacher telling me that he went through 9 bottles of water. Skip said that he had to get an IV after the game. He dropped about 5 to 7 pounds. And he said he never had to go to the bathroom with 9 bottles of water. He said that's when you know you're sweating pretty good. I asked him, I said, don't you think that's a little too much information for me?
Well, apparently not. You just related.
Well, that's what he said. He said, nope, that's the way it is. Let everybody know.
But it's not like he has a big body that could lose, you know, it has a high fat content.
Keeps himself in great shape. Versatile player, and we'll see if he comes back next year.
Yeah, a lot of question marks. I think that's going to be the fun thing, to see what guys can respond and see what guys, you know, play themselves off of next season.
And a 1-2 pitch. Ripped, and that's a double play. Riley Pujols, he'll step on the bag. 2 away here in the first.
Maybe that's the luck we need to turn things around. See where he's playing after he's holding the man on, takes a step or so, got ready defensively, and he's looking at the base runner. The top of it knew that no chance to get back there. Just go to the dugout, and the Cardinals get 2 outs.
Andrew McCutchen with 2 outs and nobody on. Big gap in left center. McCutchen 18 home runs this year and very good power. 75 RBIs, and he can run a .270 average.
Got 20 stolen bases. The last one was playing against the Cardinals. But he's 1 for his last 10 over the last 4 games.
it's convenient if you're a Pirates fan to look at the game that went nearly 20 innings against Atlanta. Jerry Meals with the blown call with a play at the plate. Clearly the runner was out but called safe, and Clint Hurdle after that and his team kind of spiraled that game in Atlanta. And a lot of people point to that and say, well, that's when it all began downward side for Pittsburgh. But Clint Hurdle has said baseball is such a long season. Yes, it was a tough game. Yes, it was a tough way to lose, but you can't look at that one game and say that's why we've gone in this tailspin.
But as you say, it started the long losing streak.
And Clint is the ever optimist and the guy that probably in this situation is perfect with this young team.
You know, they really have made a lot of progress. They've lost for 18 consecutive seasons. They hope they're going to change that. Got off to the great start for playing really almost 4 months. Great baseball. Just to give you an idea of the improvement, they are almost doubled their win total on the road. They only won 17 games on the road, and I believe they've got 30 already this year.
Here's a 3-2 pitch to McCutchen. Swing and a miss. It's a strikeout for Jackson. No score after a half inning. Skip Schumacher leads it off for Tony La Russa. This is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. He's followed by Craig and then Pools, Holiday, Berkman, Freeze, Molina, Furcal, and Edwin Jackson.
On the big averages in that lineup there. Skip Schumacher over 300 now and has been the Cardinals' leading hitter since the All-Star break.
So here we go in the bottom of the first, a 4-for-4 day yesterday for Schumacher, and he looks up and he's at 301, and he was saying to me that is something that he doesn't take lightly. He wants to finish at 300 or better. And the only player in all of baseball that's had a higher average since June 4th is Ryan Braun. Next, Skip Schumacher. Well, if you think that you're watching Roy Halladay, it is Charlie Morton, but the motion is identical.
Well, he did that upon himself, trying to emulate Roy Halladay. And then
up the middle, tough play here, off balance throw, and nicely done by Neil Walker. Presley, McCutchen, Tabata in the outfield. Harrison, Cedeno, Walker, and Jones along the infield, and the battery tonight, Morton and McHenry. That's presented by Dobbs.
Charlie Morton has the best ground ball ratio in baseball. almost 80% of the time he'll get a ground ball out. Sure, he got the Holiday look, but his pitching coach dropped down the arm angle from a high 3/4 to just a 3/4 to allow him to get on top of the ball and get that sinking action.
Say a lot of the pitches really tail in on the righties too, Al, with that good sinking action.
Yeah, great sinking. That's where he gets he gets all the ground balls. Ray Surge said, he came up with the idea of emulating Halladay, and I saw him and I wanted to change him. Last year he was 2-12 with an ERA over 750, and now he's looking for his 10th victory tonight.
The 0-2 pitch to Alan Craig. Popped up to the right side, and Tabata is over, runs out of room.
The one thing.
Keys to the game presented by Toyota. Charlie Morton, month by month, and in August, look at that, .95 ERA.
Second best in all of the National League in ERA. But the one thing he's been able to do with that sinker, and remember in the first game he pitched against the Cardinals, very impressive. That was way back in April, first homestand of the year. He walked 5 in that game. Probably should have been knocked out with about 15 walks.
There's a liner into right. Tabata is back, and he won't get it. Pops over the wall for a ground rule double with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Double for Alan Craig.
Boy, Alan Craig just continues his assault against Pirate pitching. In the last game he played in Pittsburgh, he had a career-high 4 hits and 2 home runs. His first multi-home run game. Ball out over the plate. He wanted it up in the strike zone, Henry. But he got it down a little bit, shoots it over the head of Tabata, and gets the ground rule double.
Had a chance to MC a season ticket holder event tonight, Al, and the #1 question for John Mozeliak, no surprise. The fans want to know what's happening with Albert. And John, very open and honest with the fans, said, hey, we're going to try to re-sign him, obviously, but got to be a little give and take on both sides. You got to get things done, you hope, fairly quickly so you can take care of the rest of the club.
Right. I mean, it's just to the point where that's #1 priority, but it's not the only priority. And obviously, it's going to take a big bite out of your payroll. So, until you have that resolved, you don't know really how much more money you have to spend.
Saw that season average against the Pirates for Pujols at .278. Very surprising to see that. Normally just crushes the Pirates in his illustrious career.
Particularly in their home ballpark, but you would think it would be about 100 points more.
The 2-1 is hit down the left field line, and that ball is fair. Into the corner. Alan Craig will score. Pujols on his way to second base with RBI number 78. Back-to-back doubles here in the first, and it's 1-0.
RBI driving in Alan Craig, 78. That ties Berkman for the team lead. So that's also the quest for 300, and also to get to 100 RBIs is so important for Albert. One thing I've noticed already, Morton has pitched hardly inside to the right-handed hitters. That's what he did so well the first time he faced the Cardinals. Next time it wasn't quite as good. But we also said that he walked 5 in each of those starts. The first game where he won and beat the Cardinals, he probably should have been knocked out with about 15 walks, but they kept on swinging at inside sinkers. That's the pitch right there that they swung at and got themselves out, either swung and missed or hit it on the ground. Now you can see they're a little more patience, and he's throwing more balls out over the plate.
1 out and a runner at second base. That's Pujols. Cardinals have jumped out to an early 1-0 lead. Holiday foul. One ball, one strike. Talk about the game of baseball and such a long season, and luck along the way. Cardinals a little luck in the first. They hit the first man they see, and then a bullet to Pujols off the bat of Presley turns into a double play. Next man strikes out. Holiday pops it up. Foul territory, and the catch is made.
I'm a firm believer that you can create your own luck.
And also a firm believer probably in over 162 games things will even up and even out.
Very true. Sometimes you're very fortunate when you play a club, when you're not playing. The Cardinals played the Pirates in that first series. They were gung-ho coming out of spring training, thought this was going to be the year that they not only reach 500 but contend. And they were believing the pitch by their manager, Clint Hurdle.
2 outs, runner at second. Berkman has had gaudy numbers at PNC Park along with Pujols, but here in St. Louis the home run numbers have been down, but overall he is 1 shy of 30 for the season.
Hit 14 last season. Knew that was a down year. Maybe you were hoping for 20. Maybe you're hoping for about 80 RBIs. He has had a remarkable season, and left-handed batters have had a lot of success against Morton this year. They're batting .365 against him this year.
1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield is deep, straight away. Pitch up and in, 2-1.
What the Cardinals believe is the reason why the left-handers have so much success is he can't get his pitches inside. Leave them out over the plate, can't get that cutter to come in. And it's one thing that Morton has really been working on a lot lately, is trying to combat left-handed hitters.
Berkman, base hit into right. They'll wave in Albert Pujols. Here comes a throw to the plate. Just offline. Pujols is safe. Berkman at second base, and it's 2-0 Redbirds.
Single, RBI, takes second on the throw. Well, once Albert tied Berkman, now Berkman's 1 up.
Albert Pujols safe at home, safe and secure. New York life. You knew there was no stopping Albert Pujols on a base hit with 2 outs. Tabeda's throw was a little high and also just a little bit up the line, so Pujols didn't even slide.
A strong throw.
Inside to David Freese. Cardinals have jumped out to a 2-0 lead.
Dan, that base hit by Berkman, example of not getting the ball far enough inside to the left-handed batter. Let's see if now he doesn't start trying to work the right-handed batters more inside with the sinker.
A chopper up the middle. Cedeno makes the play, but a nice inning for the Cardinals here in the first. Pujols with an RBI, number 78 and number 79 for Berkman. to have success.
Well, not scoring many runs and a high ERA. 252 batting average. We said Clint Hurdle's team is, Evie acknowledged that had good 4 months, but you play 6. Now they put themselves in a position they're going to really have to play hard to reach the 500 mark.
Here is Neil Walker, the Pittsburgh native, and he looks at a ball from Jackson. The run scored by Albert Pujols was his 84th of the year. We talk about average home runs and RBIs getting to 30, 100, 300, and another one that we always used to talk about, 100 runs scored. So he's at 84.
And he's usually around the league leaders in that department. Albert also has had 5 straight games now where he's got a base hit in his first at bat.
0-1 pitch. 2 strikes now on Walker. Walker here, and then Jones, who had a walk-off home run off of Arthur Rhodes last time we saw Pittsburgh, and also Harrison here in the top of the second.
Mentioned Neil Walker, a Pittsburgh native. He's an outstanding young player. Really has taken the city by storm. He and McCutcheon can really build around those two. And they really like Tabata. He gave him that 6-year contract.
The one they're a little concerned about is Pedro Alvarez, who was a top pick by Pittsburgh a few years ago. Did make it to the major leagues, a third baseman. He's now in the minor leagues and really is not playing well there either.
And he was, when we were in Pittsburgh last, he got called up and just looked horrible. Struck out. They just looked lost. They sent him back out. The first time he came, he was on rehab at one point, and after he went on a rehab assignment, and then they optioned him down there. Hit 365, brought him back up, but he just looks like he's lost at the major league level. And like you said, they were going to build around him. Still may be able to, but they've got to figure out what's wrong with him.
And a 1-2 pitch by Jackson. Hit to Pujols. Jackson covering the bag at first, and there's one away. 6 is a serious number again. The Cardinals score 6, get 25-cent drinks all day at On the Run at Mobile. That's any 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just 25 cents, and we're serious at On the Run at Mobile. So far, looking at the velocity of Edwin Jackson, if you go by the gun, and I know at times you do and at times you don't. I would say more times than not you don't, but he's hitting 96, 97 consistently.
Well, even if those numbers are elevated 2 or 3 miles an hour, it's still, gets your attention. But I've always felt like hitters will tell you how good your fastball is. But that's why I say he's very intriguing, potential free agent, and a lot of people think that he's going to be in the top 3 or 4 choices for a starting pitcher.
1 out, nobody on, and a 1-0 pitch to Garrett Jones from Jackson. Ryan Ludwig is not with Pittsburgh currently, and the Pirates went to go get Derek Lee and
they've had
also Ryan Ludwig to bolster their offense, and both those guys have come up hurt.
Yeah, Derek Lee hit 2 home runs in his first game, and they both coincided. Like Ludwig, his first game was like when they started the 10-game losing streak. Now he just recently has come up with some back spasms, lower back, and they placed him on the disabled list. Derek Lee was hit by a pitch, played a couple days, but the hand wasn't getting any better, and they found he has a broken wrist. So they went out and spent some money, and it kind of so far has backfired on them.
2-1 pitch. Now make it 2-2. You get the impression, though, that you're the management of the Pirates, and at that point in time, with all the losing seasons that they have had, and the fans are starting to come out, they have a bunch of sellouts still waiting for them, that maybe they owed it to the fans to try to go out and bolster that offense if they could.
No doubt about it. They're also, the Pirates kind of stunned baseball by how much money they spent in the recent amateur draft. they gave a record price to their second-round draft pick. They gave a record price to a ninth-round draft pick. They spent something like $17 million on the draft, and also went out and bought a 16-year-old Mexican pitcher for about $6 million. So they're doing it the right way. You've got to develop. You can't do it with free agents. You've got to go out and develop these young talent.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Garrett Jones. Backhanded by Schumacher to Pujols. Nice play all the way around. The versatility of Skip Schumacher.
I asked Skip if he was sore yesterday from his pitching performance the other night. I guess it would have been Tuesday night when he pitched. He said, no, I wasn't sore, but I'm sore today. Well, here he makes a nice play up the middle, bounce pass to Albert over there. Throw it far enough out in front of the first baseman. Then they can really kind of gauge the hop. Comes up a little bit on Albert, but had enough time to where he could catch the ball and his foot right in the middle of the bag and get it off the bag before the runner steps on it.
Here's Harrison. He looks at a strike. Skip Schumacher also said the reason that he didn't feel all that sore was that he was telling us he's a big believer in long toss and does that a lot during the week.
Well, people ask me all the time, what do you recommend your kids do?
Over David Freese and into the corner, and it's a base hit, dug out by Holiday. Josh Harrison with a 2-out double.
And what you tell young kids to do is what Skip Schumacher just said. Play a lot of long toss. You start out at a short distance playing catch, and then once you get loose, you slowly take a step back or two after every throw, and then get to the point where you can your maximum range and then throw from that point from another 10 to 20, depending on how old you are and how conditioned you are.
We saw that he was throwing free and easy, hitting the gun at 92, 93 miles an hour. And I said, it looked like it was natural for you. And he said, well, I pitched every level that I ever played at except professional baseball. He said he even closed out some games when he was in college. And scouts really noticed that arm. He says, I'm a one-tool player. He said, I can throw. And he said, if I needed to, I probably could get it up there to 95, 96. He has been clocked that high.
But he has a lot of heart, so that one tool is a lot more to me.
That's a really intriguing guy to me. Schumacher, I'd love to see him back just because of his versatility, and he does mean a lot inside that clubhouse.
There's no doubt about everything you said, but
how much money do you have, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, not only that, but you also have to not price yourself out of the market.
I don't think he would do that, Al.
I don't think he would either. I think he is well-grounded.
Yeah, that he's a versatile guy and can be that guy and stay in this game a long time.
And it's one thing, if you're going to be a guy that plays and starts a few games at second base, you're going to play the outfield in a sparing fashion.
Here's a fly ball lifted to center, and what you're talking about is the total amount of at-bats and how much you have to pay a guy. Jackson strands a runner at second base midway through 2, and it's 2-0. September 5th at the Ford Plaza, and learn more at all about the pc.com/baseball testing event on Monday, September 5th. Yadier Molina will lead it off. Cardinals with a 2-run lead. RBIs for Berkman and Pujols. Career high in home runs for Molina with 11 this year, and a foul ball off his ankle or his foot. That seems to be the pitch that you were talking about, Al, with right-handed hitters that bore down in on him.
Well, when we saw him the first time out, we had never seen that sinking action, and the Cardinal hitters haven't either from Charlie Morton. And so they swung at so many pitches that were inside, that were balls, just like this one. And he pays the price for it, fouling off his front foot. Yadi's had a remarkable season. Cards pulled a club option for him that can't imagine any way that would not be picked up. Career high in home runs for him.
1 ball, 1 strike on Molina. And if you're a GM, you're thinking not just of 2012, but you also think beyond and trying to pay Molina, Wainwright, and some of the others that you know could be up. And Yadi hits it into center field. McCutchen is back near the wall, and he's got it.
Not only has McCutchen developed into a very fine hitter, but he is flat out can track down the baseball. This is an easy one for him. But watch here. He feels the change of surface underneath his feet going from the grass to the dirt. But does a smart thing there. He knows he's getting close to the wall. He kind of has a sixth sense about that. But he reached back there also to know where it is, and so it's not a surprise to him. Put your back up against the wall and he makes the catch.
Slapped the other way for a base hit. Rafael Furcal.
I like him right now in the 8th spot. You know, Ralphie just not swinging the bat like he did earlier in his career. And Schumacher's a hot hitter, so put Ralphie in the 8th spot.
What about Furcal? Just like Schumacher earlier, just getting his timing back. Remember, this is a guy that has missed a lot of time this year.
There's no doubt about it. He's missed 60-plus games, you know, with a fractured left thumb and then an oblique muscle strain. Missed a couple days, you know, over the weekend with the thumb injury sustained in Chicago in a freak accident out there and tripping over a broken board.
He's leaning towards second, but back to the bag as Morton stepped off.
He has 298 career steals.
Leaning again and back in safely. Third baseman playing in for the Pirates. They'll hold it first. 2-0 lead. Jackson offered at it, and it's a strike.
Jackson, hey, 273. Just 11 at bats, but 3 hits. Didn't look comfortable. He does have 1 sack this season and 7 in his career.
Showing bunt again. Outfield shades him to the right side. Will he bunt here? He does, and bunts it foul for strike 2.
The bat in fair territory.
Tomorrow night it'll be Westbrook trying to pick up his 11th win of the season against James McDonald, who is 8-6. Saturday, Chris Carpenter and Brad Lincoln. Cal Loesch will go against Jeff Karstens on Sunday. No balls and 2 strikes. Schumacher, the leadoff man, on deck. 1-2.
Charlie Morton ahead in the count, so he threw a ball up in the zone trying to get the pop-up. And
now the catcher out to visit. Another reminder, our 2-day sale for those $5 tickets in honor of the 2000th hit for Albert Pujols, September 5th, 6th, and 7th against Milwaukee. That will end tonight at midnight. We have $5 seats available, but only 2,000 seats available for those 3 games at that ticket price. $5 seats. Cardinals.com/5. Available until midnight tonight. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Well, we've seen Tony La Russa. He said to us he'd like to generate some offense, get something going. Might want to do it here on 2-2. Would you start for Cowell?
Well, you could start for Cowell. You could put a little hit and run on. Just kind of butcher it down. If it's, we've got a lot of defensive parts moving all around. Pirates not quite sure what could be on, so you throw over and maybe the batter gives away his intentions.
Leaning towards second, not going, and Jackson gets the bunt down. Only play is to go to first for Cowell. Thought about going to third as Josh Harrison, their third baseman, was all the way in, ready to field that bunt. Sacrifice is good.
You got the third baseman comes in charging hard, get the bunt down, but it's the catcher, McHenry, who picks it up. And then I'm sure the third baseman is retreating, Josh Harrison. Ryan Doman had very good offensive games against the Cardinals last time in Pittsburgh, but he is noted as not a very good thrower. Cardinals really didn't try to take advantage of his weak throwing arm in that series.
Here's Schumacher. After grounding out his first time up, he's 0 for 1, back to an even 300. Taps it foul.
It's another aspect of a guy that throws a sinker or a cutter coming in on you, how many times they'll foul a ball off their shin or foot. Not bad average with 2 outs, runners in scoring position, hit 300.
Shade him just slightly to the opposite field. 2 outs for Cowell, the runner at second. 0-2. Pirates at 61 and 68, 15 and a half back. St. Louis 67 and 63, 10 games back in Milwaukee. 1 ball and 2 strikes. They love McHenry defensively behind the plate.
Like I said, Doman, who broke his ankle, missed about 2 months, so it created an opening for McHenry. They really, as you said, like the way he handles the pitching staff and blocks balls in the dirt and everything else about catching. But Doman came off and just had a big series, one big game against the Cardinals.
On 1-2. Schumacher fists it into shallow center. This will get down. That's a base hit and an RBI for Skip Schumacher. For Cowell scores, and it's 3-0 St. Louis.
Cowell out there with 2 outs. So as soon as this ball is hit, you just take off. Just inside, fights it off, so it doesn't get a lot of good wood on it. And McCutchen never gets there. But as I said, with 2 outs, you know the ball's put in play. Just put your head down and circle the bases.
The single for Cowell. The sacrifice by Jackson. And the 2-out base hit by Schumacher. Here's Alan Craig, who doubled and scored back in the first. 3-0 St. Louis. Well, you talked about it. It's the largest single season improvement in road win percentage since 1900 for the Pirates this year. 17 and 64 last year. Just 1 game below 500 this season. So much improved away from PNC Park.
Alan Craig against Pirate pitching this year is 9 for 16.
hitting ahead of Albert. The 1-1 pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
One thing, Tony likes to have a power guy, a guy that could do some damage in the 2-hole, and figures he hit a lot of fastballs or something hitting in front of Albert. But with those numbers and the success he's had, you better pitch him your best stuff.
On 1-2, it's hit towards third, and the play is made. And Craig is 1 for 2. Skip Schumacher, the RBI base hit. Cardinals on top after 2. As we move to the top of the third. RBIs tonight, Pujols, Berkman, and Schumacher just moments ago. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin were joined now by Jim Hayes here in the third inning. Skip picking up that RBI, his 31st of the year.
You guys were talking about Skip and what the future holds for him. You talk about his leadership, but also that work ethic. Pitched the night before, and then yesterday, the only guy on the field taking infield. He's a tireless worker, and I think that factors into that leadership equation. Lead by example kind of guy.
He talks to himself a lot too. At the plate, out in the field. He says it's one way that he stays focused, reminding himself little things to do.
I don't think you'll find a guy as critical of himself as Skip Schumacher. If things don't go well, he takes it home.
There's a 1-1 pitch and a ground ball to third. Backhanded by Freese off his glove. It's an error. E5 on the play. And it brings in Morton.
A little bouncer, looks like a routine going to be out. Tried to backhand it, misses it.
Hyundai Foxmo here.
Almost turns an ankle in his effort to go after this ball. Don't want to see that.
I was going to say, don't say that with David Freese. So a runner at first, and here is Morton. Taps it foul. Stabbing at it. All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot. Best bunter that you faced or saw? Carew, I guess, would come to mind.
Well, Carew, I'm thinking of a pitcher, but, Rod Carew was so good. He always felt, he won, I believe, 7 batting titles in the American League. But he always felt that he would never go into a prolonged slump because of his ability to bunt. You go back to the absolute basics of hitting. Seeing the ball hit the bat. So that's pretty good advice for anyone. If the great Rod Carew felt like he would never go into a prolonged slump because of his ability to bunt, people ought to think about that.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Charlie Morton. A check by Jackson. McHenry, the runner at first. Freeze cheating in at third. And the only play is to go to first with a high throw to Schumacher. Sack 1-4 on the play. So both pitchers have helped their cause with sacrifices. Jackson back in the second, and this one here at the top of the third. We've been doing a lot of talking about this team and where they're at, Jim, and I know you had a chance to hear what Tony had to say about the team from here on out.
Well, he said that in his opinion, the Cardinals gained a lot of admiration from opponents, people in baseball, and Cardinal fans in the early going by being successful and fighting through all kinds of injuries. And in his words, they have mugged that admiration of late with the way they're playing, and he says they owe it to the organization, their fans, and themselves to finish strong. And in terms of looking ahead and trying guys out at this position or seeing who, he said maybe when there's September call-ups, we'll look at it then. Right now, they're just going to try to win games, and that's the focus.
And the 0-1 pitch to Tabata.
And you kind of hope everyone just relaxes now and just have some fun. And right now, I mean, that's the best formula for them to get back into winning ways, is just to go out and have fun. The only way you have fun in this game, though, is when you win.
You'd have to say the bullpen has improved since the deal. And you also are looking to improve the back end of that. Maybe it comes within the organization. You never know about a Lance Lynn or Fernando Salas. You have an option on Carpenter for next year. Jaime Garcia trying to get straightened out after another rough start yesterday. Bad third inning. 8 straight reached. But you do know that Wainwright will be back.
Obviously, the loss of Wainwright was huge. We thought the first half they could overcome it.
Strikeout number 2 on the night. And initially, as Jim said, they did. They weathered that storm of missing him every 5th day. But again, over the long haul of a season, that does catch up. And the fact the Cardinals, at the worst time, went south. Everything went south.
Well, you know, the Cardinals are averaging 4.65 runs per game. But when your ERA is right around 4, there's really no margin for error.
Pick off, they'll throw behind the runner, and it's kept in front by Fracao.
And that's the reason why they have had the unbelievable 21 walk-off losses. Cut that in half, you're right in the pennant.
You know,
exactly.
The thing is, though, I would say most of the bullpen damage was done in the first half. To be honest, the Cardinals were still in first place and still had everything ahead of them, and they weren't able to get that run.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Left center, Craig coming on and does not make the catch. Trying to sell it. It's a base hit. Pittsburgh gets on the board, and it's 3-1.
Tony said, I want Craig's bat in the lineup, just trying to find a place for him. And he really has played center field very well. Here he makes a great effort, tries to backhand it. Clearly he traps it. Wasn't going to change the play, but you're right. Our Hyundai Fox Exmo cam, as he tried to sell it to the umpire, wasn't going to change. He wasn't going to get up and throw out the runner.
You know, to finish our point about the bullpen, I think if you ask Tony, if you ask Mo, clearly they stuck with Ryan Franklin way too long. And it cost them a lot of games. And they wanted to see the veteran get straightened out. And I think everybody did. Teammates, fans wanted to see him get right, but never did. They gave him the benefit of the doubt, and in retrospect probably stayed with him too long.
And they honestly felt like Franklin still had stuff, and if they gave him time, he would straighten it out. That didn't happen.
Here's Andrew McCutchen. He represents the tying run. 2 outs and a runner at first.
You know, you were talking about Alan Craig. I asked Tony about Craig before the game as he's shuffling guys and trying to look ahead but win the games now if a guy like Craig gets more playing time. And he said it's a tough spot because they can't use him where they'd like to use him, and they'll find good matchups like Pittsburgh, well, they'll try to get him in. But he said if you're looking for, Craig to get regular playing time, that probably won't happen this season.
I mean, he's really doesn't have a defined position, or best would be a corner outfield spot.
2-0 pitch. Make it 3-0.
But Tony's idea is that I'll give Craig 3 at bats. We'll have a lead, and then I'll bring in a defensive replacement. He said the biggest thing that he will not do for you is you can't expect him to track down a ball, that's up against the wall, left to right, where he makes the long run. It's just not going to happen. He'll give you every effort, but he just doesn't have the speed of, say, a McCutcheon or one of the other outfielders.
Well, they turn him loose on 3-0. They don't need to. Up and in, it's a walk. So Jackson has hit a man, and that's his first walk that he's allowed. It was the error by Freeze to start the inning, the sacrifice, then a strikeout. Presley with the 2-out RBI base hit, walk to McCutcheon, and the cleanup man Neil Walker with 2 runners on and 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. Walker grounded out to Pujols his first time up.
Talking with Mark McGuire today, he pointed out that you look at the teams that are winning, they're doing it with pitching and defense. They have a below batting average of the Cardinals, but they've had that really good pitching throughout, and they have a much better defense than the Cardinals.
I would assume, going back to Craig, that's one of the guys that I think the Cardinals would like to get an extended look at and multiple at bats in September, day after day after day, to see how he responds.
But it's kind of tough when he could play first, but there's Pujols. He played left. There's Holiday.
Exactly.
Right, you got Berkman. So
tough to find him that spot.
And Tony's never going to give in. He's going to want to win every single game. At times you'll see, but he'll find ways to get Craig in there. And like you said, depending on where you are on September 1st, that's after a 3-game series in Milwaukee. I guess the first would still be the 3rd of that game of that series. Find out if you're get back in the race at that time or not.
It's now 7 straight balls from Edwin Jackson. 3-0 the count on Walker. Garrett Jones on deck.
You just hate to see this when there is an error, and then you get 2 guys out, so there's no earned runs. You just want to see him bear down and really make David Freese not feel guilty for that error, because his guy did come around and score.
The 3-0 pitch. Off speed pitch. In for a strike. 3-1. It was hot this afternoon, but it's cooled off, and just a perfect night here at Busch Stadium.
And Walker with 75 RBIs.
The 3-1 pitch by Edwin Jackson. Catches the corner. 3-2.
There's two consecutive strikes called that were way outside.
Jim Reynolds calling the balls and strikes tonight.
As Cardinal fans remember Neil Walker's 10th home run. That was a game-tying home run in Pittsburgh on the first pitch from Salas.
Runners are going with this pitch, and it's a ball. Back-to-back walks. You can follow every Cardinals game through Game Connect on FoxSportsMidwest.com. As you watch the game on television, you can join the conversation about the game on Twitter. Track trends and stats. It's Game Connect. Find it at FoxSportsMidwest.com.
Derek Lilliquist, the acting pitching coach, bullpen pitching coach, still with the absence of Dave Duncan, and good time to wish a speedy recovery to Janine Duncan. Thoughts and prayers are with her and her recovery. So Cardinal bullpen coach is taking over the duties in the dugout.
Bases loaded for Garrett Jones. No grand slams in his career, a .357 average. But this season, look at that, 3 for 3 and 10 RBIs.
Make a mistake, he can really lose one.
Jackson now working out of the windup with the bases loaded. Really has not had command of the strike zone at all. Runner at third is Presley. Reached with a single, then McCutchen a walk. Walker a base on balls, and now it's Jones. 2 outs, bases loaded. Time call. The big three coming up for St. Louis. Will it be a 3-1 lead? The next, taken for a ball. 2-0.
Got the good fastballs, got a good breaking ball. Just got to attack the strike zone.
Third inning yesterday that got to Jaime Garcia. Gave up 6 base hits, 6 runs. 8 reached. There were 8 straight. The 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Nowhere close.
Remember, it was 2 walks and then 6 straight base hits off of Jaime. Didn't record an out till the 9th man, which was the pitcher bunting in a sac situation. And the game was over from that. And that was right after, his teammates, Skip Schumacher, got him a 1-0 lead.
Let's try to forget that and watch this.
The 3-0. A sarcastic cheer from the folks here at Busch Stadium.
If he hits a home run, he hits a home run. But you can't walk him.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. That's strike 2. 3-2.
A dangerous pitch to a left-handed batter, down and in.
Big pitch right here. 3-2 on its way. Line drive into center. 2 runs will score. And the Pirates have tied it up. It's 3-3.
A real critical mistake there. Running the count to 3-2 with 2 outs. Then you've got the merry-go-round. You've got the runners going. So instead of a ball like that producing 1 run, it ties the game as 2 runners score. Maybe the best pitch he threw of the sequence, out away from him, but he just level swing, hits it out there. With the runners moving, 2 runs score, and still in a jam.
Josh Harrison will be the hitter. 2 outs, runners at first and third. Harrison doubled to left. His first time up. And the guy that feels awful right now is at third base, David Freese, with a tailor-made hop. Looked to be an easy play to start the inning, turned into an error. That run came around to score, and you see 28 pitches this inning for Edwin Jackson.
They're unearned runs, but at some point you've got to get another out.
2 balls and no strikes.
Just because they become unearned runs doesn't mean you just relax, and I'm sure Jackson is not doing that, but you really got to show that you're going to fight your way out of it.
Runners at first and third. 2 down, 2 balls, no strikes. And a 3-3 ball game here in the Pirates half of the third. The next by Jackson. He misses inside. 3-0. You see the talent, Al, but then you also see innings like this.
That's what if you just judge his physical ability, his size, and everything else, you say, all right, we got something. But then you see the inconsistency, and you take a second thought.
Inning started with the air by Freese, then a sacrifice by Morton, strikeout of Tabata. Presley, the RBI single. Walk to McCutchen, walk to Walker. And with the bases loaded, Jones delivered a 2-out base hit to score 2. Here's a 3-0 pitch to Josh Harrison. And there's a strike, 3-1. 3-2, and Jim, you talked about how Jackson before the inning is one of the loosest guys you'll find in the clubhouse when he's starting that day.
Some guys don't even make eye contact with some of their teammates even. But Jackson's a guy who will seek out a conversation, and I asked him about it, and he said, why would I do anything differently?
Jeff Suppan was like that as well, and here's a 3-2 pitch. Runner from first. There he goes. That pitch is lifted in the air. Left center, Alan Craig makes the catch. The Pirates have tied it up. Pujols, Holiday, Berkman coming up. Photo day is this Saturday. Creve Coeur Camera Day. Get here early. 3:15 is our first pitch. First come, first serve. You'll be on the field to take photos of your favorite players and coaches. And still some tickets available. Very popular day. Creve Coeur Camera Photo Day. Here's Albert Pujols. 3-3 game, and the first pitch is a strike right at the knees. Matt Holliday on deck, and then Lance Berkman. And a ground ball that is hit to short. Bobbled by Cedeno, but Pujols is retired. And Albert is 1 for 2. First time up, RBI double. Fox Tracks is presented by Missouri Lottery this half inning as Matt Holliday will dig in for the second time. Popped out to first.
Holiday 4 for 10 with a home run off of Charlie Morton.
You know, just about every other game, Kyle McClellan is a guest of Jim's on the pregame show. And Kyle's had an interesting year in the fact that he's been a starter. Now a vital role in that bullpen. Where does he want to be next year?
Well, it's a great point about his appearances, but a lot to talk about with Kyle. As you mentioned, an interesting season. A starter after fighting for the starting spot, then being moved to the bullpen.
Through the legs of Garrett Jones, and Holiday is aboard.
And Kyle says he will do whatever they want him to do, but given his preference, he would rather be a starter. But he thinks in the long run, just the experience of getting to do both will help him.
Here's Berkman. The best cameraman we've had yet this year, outside of Big Dog.
Why did Mike let him take that from?
There's a base hit into right field. Holiday on his way to second, and he'll stop right there.
Berkman 2 for 2. As Garrett Jones, first baseman, holding the runner, and he just hits it beyond the reach of Garrett Jones into right field.
Well, the Cardinals had an error by David Freese that led to a 3-run inning. Let's see if Freese can make them pay following the error. .361 average with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals' last 10 games have hit under 200 with runners in scoring position. And he looks at a strike at the knees. Cardinals about hit the Pirates 6-3. We're tied up 3-3. 0-1 pitch to Freese. Make it 0-2. David first time up, grounded out to short. Happy fan right there. Got a foul ball and a souvenir. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That'll roll foul. We haven't seen Nick Punto in a long time, have we?
No, he's been.
This is why I know that you're digging.
He's been down on the field. I like me some Nick Punto.
Who doesn't?
He's dealing with an oblique strain, and he's now actually hitting, and he feels like not too long before he's back. September call-ups, he'll be part of it.
He's hoping to go on a rehab. Time is running short, and then would not come to the club right now until they expanded rosters September 1st.
You would think we'd see probably Tyler Green. Al, you mentioned that Nick Stavino has put up incredible numbers this year at AAA. The only problem is he's not on the 40-man roster.
Sure, and Stavino the other night hit his 27th home run and drove in his 100th run. Did that at the minor league level. That's accomplishing something.
And plus, when he was up here, he found a little niche as a pinch hitter too.
Yeah, no, I mean, they took a chance, took him off the roster, and it worked because he stayed in the organization. But after those numbers, I'm sure he'll get there'll be some interest in him. Hopefully, it'll be with the Cardinals.
It's a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Freese bounces into a 6-4-3 double play. Jim, unbelievable job as always. We'll see you on the post-game show. We're tied up 3-3 here on Fox Sports Midwest. 70 Cardinal fans in the 1138th Transportation Company were deployed by the Missouri National Guard to Afghanistan. And we'll have another of our This One's For You programs. That'll be September 2nd. We'll hook up with those folks in Afghanistan. It's a Friday night, September 2nd. Hope you join us. Ronnie Cedeno looks at a ball, and we're underway in the Pirates' half of the fourth. One ball, one strike. Both teams have left 3 on, and that's hit down the left field line in trouble. Holiday over. One hops off the wall, and Ronnie Cedeno, who has given them solid defense at shortstop and also hit okay, picks up a double. And Cedeno is 1 for 2. He's been just fine.
He's always hit Cardinal pitching, and you're right. You know, getting a chance to play every day. Of course, that pitch right up over the middle of the plate should be hit.
McHenry, the 8th place hitter, reached on an air by Freeze back in the third. 4 finals in baseball today. Atlanta continues to win. They beat the Chicago Cubs 8-3.
See the Yankee score?
I was thinking that was the Jets and Raiders. 22-9, the Yankees over the A's. They were down 7-1 one point in that game. Detroit over Tampa Bay 2-0. And Baltimore beat Minnesota 6-1. We understand that Jim Thome has been traded to the Cleveland Indians, where it all started for him.
Yeah, picked up on waivers, and then they made a trade, and so Thome will go back to where it all began. He was hopeful that number 600 would come in Cleveland, and I'm sure that'll be a big draw, as they're in the middle of the pennant race.
1 ball, 1 strike on McHenry. Runner at second is Cedeno. You can hear that beeping noise for the last half inning or so coming through our microphones. We're not sure what that is.
I tell you what it is. It's actually a fire alarm, where yesterday early at the ballpark they were having problems, and you know it was going off even much louder, and had to tell everyone it's a false alarm, and I'm sure that's what it is right now too.
Well, let's hope. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Why have you just left the booth?
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Trust me, nobody's in harm.
Fly ball out to left. Holiday going back. He won't get it. Off the top of the wall. Cedeno will score. Holiday fires a strike into second base. And just like that, the Pirates lead it. It's 4-3. McHenry with his 10th RBI of the year. Just missed a home run off the top of the wall.
Holiday plays it perfectly. He knows he can't get back quick enough. Puts up his glove to try and deke the runner, and then plays the carom off the wall. Maybe a foot or 2 from going out of the ballpark. Gets the ball back in quickly, and they trade places, and they have the lead.
The pitcher with a sacrifice here. Pujols thought about going to third.
He had him.
One of the few times that he doesn't go there, but he does get the shore out at first base.
They would have had him, and you know he's got his back turned, and a lot of times it's somebody's got to yell third base. As Foucault got over there, and Albert didn't take that opportunity, got the sure out at first.
Tabata has been hit by a pitch, then stranded in the first, and struck out swinging back in the third. 1 out runner at third. 4-3 Pittsburgh. Cardinals have out hit the Pirates 6-5 in this game. Big gap in left center. Back to Jackson. They've got the runner hung up between third and home. Nice play by Jackson. Tags him out. And that saves a run.
A very nice play right there. Gerald Laird played it, run down perfectly in last night's ball game, and that was perfect by Jackson. A good athlete, Hyundai Exmo Cam sees him deliver the pitch. After that, you become a fifth infielder. Fields his position. He checks the runner, and then he runs at him, trying to run him back to third base. He started to come home, but he closed the gap enough to where he could touch him for the out, and also the runner can't go any more than to first base.
Alex Presley, the second man in this lineup for Clint Hurdle. Runner at first. Presley lined into the double play back in the first inning, and also has a run scored, RBI single. Big gap in right center for Presley. Left fielder tonight.
Trouble happened last inning after 2 outs. See if he can't bear down here. And it started with a single by Presley. A single and RBI as he scored the first run of the inning, who reached on air. Presley just came off the disabled list. Saw him in the Pittsburgh series, and he was very impressive the first time we were in Pittsburgh. Second time he was on the DL.
David Freese in over at third. They'll hold it first, and here comes the 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2. Runner is going, and it's popped up. Pujols will take it. The Pirates with an RBI by McHenry have taken their first lead of the night. Molina leads it off when we come back. Favor of Pittsburgh. The Cardinals have outscored, or rather out-hit the Pirates 6-5.
Big mention here. Big birthday girl. Going to be 97 years young today. Tina Costa watches all of our games. Big red-blooded Cardinal fan. Happy birthday today. 97 years young, and this is a little gift from the Cardinals and all your friends and relatives.
Yadier Molina leads it off. And a 4-3 lead for Pittsburgh. Cardinals have Molina for Cowell and Jackson. The slider that's blown away in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Diamondbacks top of the 8th, leading Washington by the score of 5-1. Kansas City leading the Blue Jays top of the 8th at 7-2. Potential matchup in the ALCS you could see. Boston and Texas, and the Red Sox in the top of the 6th lead Texas 6-0. Astros in San Francisco later tonight. 1-2 pitch, 2-2.
Not seeing as many pitches inside tonight, just enough to keep hitters honest. See how Yachty way off the plate.
Here's a grounder that's hit to short. Cedeno makes the play, and there's one away. Texas, many thought that they would run away with that division, American League West, and they have not done that. As Los Angeles, the Angels, only 2.5 games back.
Yeah, they've a couple years ago you'd always pick the Angels, but falling on hard times. And Mike Scioscia's got that team playing hard again. I would have thought Texas would run away with it. They were my pick in the West. Sure, yours too.
Yes, they were. Rafael Furcal with a base hit out to left. 1 for 1 in this ball game tonight. Also scored a run.
What did you have in the American League Central? Do you remember?
Central, I had, I believe, Minnesota.
I think I had Chicago and had the wild card, or it was either Chicago or Detroit. For some reason I'm thinking, how could I not pick the Yankees or Boston? I had picked Boston to win, but
you know, one of those.
I think I picked Detroit to be the wild card.
Yeah, one of those is going to be the wild card when you think about Boston or New York. Always seems to turn out that way.
I don't think I gave the Yankees rotation enough credit.
They've had some surprises, definitely. Yeah. Bartolo Colon, Freddie Garcia. They've had a young player come up and really give them some stability as well. They have Sabathia, A.J. Burnett. Back into games, you still have the great Mariano Rivera.
He's been having his problems this year, too.
Not cutting as much.
Nope.
That great cutter that he possesses. One pitch pitcher, the cutter.
It took him 20 years to get used to it.
It's amazing. Furcal hits it to the right side. Nice play by Walker. Gets up on the outfield grass and makes the play. Well, both second basemen have contributed defensively tonight. Here's Neil Walker.
Neil Walker, very good range, field that position. Now with McHenry behind the plate, they have a good defense up the middle. It's Ray Surge, the pitching coach, keeping score, making notations where the ball is being hit.
Edwin Jackson is the hitter. And the 1-0 pitch swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and nobody on.
He was swinging.
As you mentioned, he's a pretty good athlete. And we've talked about that he can swing the bat a little bit too. Jackson with a base hit into center field. Hard hit. A couple of bounces out to McCutchen. And it's a 2-out base hit for Jackson.
Like an Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday swing in result. Because that ball was just scorched up the middle.
Public flight seeing aboard the Farmers Airship, available from August 26th to the 28th. For reservations or more information, call 650-969-8100 extension 111 or head to airshipventures.com/tour. Schumacher with a runner at first, and now time is called. play a night game tomorrow. We're on the air at 6:30. Westbrook and McDonald. It's a 3:10 first pitch on Saturday. Then Sunday, 1:15. Jake Westbrook trying to pick up win number 11 tomorrow night.
And to tie Kyle Loesch for the team lead. Jackson's trying to pick up his combined 10th win.
Two outs, runner at first. Schumacher hits one out of play. It's a couple of times tonight he spun away, it looks like, from pitches that he liked and wishes he had back. RBI single for Skip. Back in the second inning, that scored for Kyle. That made it 3-0, and the Pirates have come back with 4. 0-2.
One of the reasons why pitching coaches will tell you to always throw first pitch strikes, because even if that hitter gets a pitch he likes, rarely does he put it really in play, or even, you still have to get a base hit with it, but a lot of times they'll take it or foul it off.
One-two pitch to Schumacher. On the outside corner, strikeout is Skip. He's 1 for 3 on the night. Pirates lead it. It's 4-3. Missouri Division of Tourism. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. You're looking at beautiful Lake Taneycomo near Branson, Missouri. You can explore the pristine outdoors that have been bringing visitors here for more than 100 years. If you'd like to find out more about the swimming and the fishing in Branson, all you have to do is go to visitmo.com. Visitmo.com. While we have a moment, let's take a look at our AT trivia question. Who was the last Pirates closer to save 30 games in one season? But Jose Mesa, that comes to mind.
That's my pick.
There it is, 43 back in 04. Their lone bright spot in 2004, Jose Mesa. He came into a game and you thought, it's probably going to be over. He was pretty good.
43 saves, no doubt about it. And they have a very strong closer now, Joel Hanrahan, who I saw him talking to Jason Simontachi before the game. So what do you guys have in common other than hunting? He said, got that. He was an Iowa kid, but now lives in Dallas. But they played together in 07 or 08 when the Washington Nationals organization.
1-0 pitch. I'm sure that's one that Washington wishes they could take back, because Hanrahan has been terrific for the Pirates this year, back into their games. You mentioned it, Al. I mean, you look at the back end of the Cardinal games, and you know, you save half of them, and it's a different season.
And you know, and remember what the compensation was. Niger Morgan.
That's right. Who's now with Milwaukee.
And, you know, I mean, T. Plush, as Niger's alter ego, has really caught on in Milwaukee. And he started that in Pittsburgh, but didn't really catch on.
Here's a high fly ball into center. Alan Craig makes the catch. Albert Pujols, Alan Craig, Matt Holliday coming up for the Cardinals. Looking ahead, McCutchen, a dangerous man, retired. He is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored, and now it's Neil Walker.
McCutchen and Walker are tied for the team lead with those 75 RBIs.
There's a strike. And it's 0-1. Way off the line at third is David Freese, even with the bag. Outfield shading a bit to the opposite way for Neil Walker. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the charts would tell you he pulls the ball in the infield, but pretty much straight away or hit a little bit towards left and left center if it's a fly ball. Big gap in right center.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. We'll do it again at 1-2.
Good velocity on the fastball from Jackson. Sometimes you try to overthrow it, you tense up, and the ball just doesn't have any movement.
2-2. The third inning, it just looked like he lost control, but since then has regained it, settled in. Cardinals jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and now they trail 4-3. One out here in the top of the 5th. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Neil Walker.
3 unearned runs in the 3rd inning, and then with back-to-back doubles in the 4th, they've taken the 4-3 lead.
Last 10 games, hitting .467 is Walker.
But, you know, there were 3 unearned runs, but you had 4 batters reach base before he got the 3rd out.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. The fly ball out to center. Craig makes the catch. 2 away. Tomorrow night, get here early. It's Willie McGee and his bobblehead night. Cardinals will be wearing their powder blue uniforms from 1985 that you see there in that bobblehead. It's available to 25,000 fans of all ages, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Deerbergs.
The pullover variety.
Vince Coleman and Willie will be part of the ceremonial first pitch. They'll be signing autographs in the Ford Plaza. There are tickets tomorrow as low as $15. $15. And still some good seats. Yep, get the bobblehead. Chance to get an autograph from those two if you get here early enough. Come on down to the ballpark. 2 balls and no strikes.
You'll find some of those bobbleheads on eBay the next few days. It'll be 10 to 20 times that price.
I wouldn't know anything about that, Al. You are a connoisseur, if you will, of bobbleheads. You with your very own Al Raboski bobblehead. That I was very proud to begin that initiative to make that happen. Understand that the post-game show, though, did pull the head off one of your bobbleheads.
Yeah, and they tried to glue it back.
It's an absolute insult, Al.
It's a good thing I have good doctors. What are you saying about the control?
Well, 2-out walk.
3rd of the night.
I can't believe you put up with that after all these years. Letting them do that to your bobblehead. There's Josh Harrison.
Just consider the source.
There's a strike at the knees to Harrison. 2 outs, runner at first. Harrison is doubled and also flied out to center. And a ground ball that's hit to short for Kyle, charging on the run, makes the play. The Cardinals have Craig, Pujols, and Holiday coming up. It's 4-3 Pittsburgh. Westbrook, McDonald 8-6. Westbrook is 10-7. And join us at 6:30 for our Budweiser What's on Tap.
Hey, congratulations to Kerry Thompson, who is retiring from MoDOT after 32 years. Going to have a big celebration for his retirement, I think, tomorrow. And
Sue Walbacher is celebrating her birthday with us here in the booth. Purchased a item at the winter warm-up to go on the field and a chance to watch batting practice there and go behind the scenes up here in the booth and see our buddy Tony West as Craig picks up a base hit out to left. I tried to introduce Sue to Tim Garcia, but he was sleeping.
Well, Tony said, you know, we'll try and get Craig out there, a little hanging breaking ball. Hits on the end of the bat, but he really hits this Pirate pitching well. And let's see if he, in front of Albert, can't do some damage and Cardinals get a lead.
Pujols 1 for 2 on the night.
He knocked in Alan Craig back in the first inning.
Outfield straight away and deep. Runner goes. Craig on his way to second. High throw and a stolen base.
How about that? Appeared like he was going to be out, but the high throw allowed him to get the steal. It's his 5th in 5 tries.
I like it.
I like it. And we're seeing a little bit more ahead of Albert Pujols that Tony is willing at times to send that runner.
How many times, Al, do you think teams fall asleep because the focus is so much on Pujols?
Well, I told you I played with Joe Ferguson, who was a catcher outfielder, and he felt, and he was a big guy and wasn't speedy, but he felt he could get in double figures just by, you know, pitchers falling asleep or not anticipating him running.
2-0 the count here on Albert. And also the scouting report will tell you Cardinals with runner at first and Pujols up, the percentage of times they run is minuscule.
Well, Albert is also ground into a major league leading 25 double plays, but it's been a while since he's hit into one.
That's inside. It's a walk to Pujols, and the Cardinals have something going here in the bottom of the 5th.
And I think the Cardinals also, Tony La Russa, if you want to walk Albert Pujols, that's fine, because Holiday's got good numbers and Lance Brookman got good numbers against Morton. So go ahead and pick your poison.
Runners at first and second. Winter warm-up, by the way, we're talking about that. They've raised Michael Hall and his crew nearly $20 million, and 100% of that to kids back in St. Louis and around the area. Really is a neat thing that they do. The players are involved, and Tony has made sure that the players get involved, and the winter warm-up is the primary fundraiser, but nearly $20 million raised since 1997.
And if you're really a kids charity, you can apply for a grant through Cardinals Care.
Runners at first and second. No balls, one strike.
Holiday not happy with the umpire. Umpire not happy with Holiday.
And Holiday hits a high fly ball into deep right field. On the track, the catch is made. Craig will tag up from second to third.
Holiday hits that deep enough for not only Craig to tag up. Albert was in tagging up, but as soon as he saw the throw go to second, he had to go back to first. Brookman 2 for 2 on the night. He is now 7 for 12 with 2 home runs against Charlie Morton.
A .363 average with runners in scoring position. Runners at first and third. RBI single in the first, his 79th RBI. Singled in the third and then was erased on a double play. Two balls and no strikes. Outfield is straight away and deep. Time called by Berkman. And that's taken low and away.
Remember we said lefties this season about .365 off of Morton. They're trying to work on getting the cutter or the front door sinker to the left-handed batters.
And that's a walk. Bases are loaded for the Cardinals. What a chance here for David Freese, and you know he wants to atone for that error back in the third.
Just got to go up there and just forget about that. He's a good RBI man. He's already established a career high in home runs and RBIs. Of course, his brief seasons the last couple of years have all been curtailed with injury, and even this year he had the broken hand. So Ray surge out to talk to Charlie Morton as they get activity.
Bases loaded for Freese.
LaRue warming up, right-hander.
David Freese is grounded out to short. First time, 1 out. Second time, grounded to short, turned into a 6-4-3 double play.
I just kind of got the feeling that he didn't want any part of Berkman and wanted the right-handed batter to come up. Told you that he is the best in the major leagues. 77.9% of his outs have come by way of the ground ball, which is the best rate in the major leagues. So he's banking he can get a ground ball double play.
First pitch to him. Taken for a ball inside. This crowd is ready to erupt over something. It's been such a frustrating start to this homestand. You can see the crowd here. Hopefully they'll have something to cheer about momentarily. 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just a great outing by Chris Carpenter on the first game of the homestand. 8+ innings. Then saw that become a very tough loss. Then just a couple blowouts by the Dodgers.
Freeze fights it off. Little blooper down the right field line. It is a fair ball. 1 run is in. Here comes another. That's Pujols. He scores, and the Cardinals are back on top thanks to David Freeze.
It's important. We're looking for the ground ball double play, and David Freeze doesn't hit the ground ball. It's a quail, and just slicing away from the right fielder. And look at Albert. He follows Alan Craig as he was right on his tail.
Second run scored for the Wolves.
Second run for Alan Craig with his 2 for 2 night. Big 2-out RBI, and that's going to be it as a double switch will be made.
So with 1 out, the Cardinals still with a good chance to add to their lead. Second time they've had a lead tonight. They led 3-0, then trailed 4-3, and now they're back on top. Clint Hurdle making the move. St. Louis on top, 5-4 here on Fox Sports Midwest. Lee Arthur, Big Lee Smith recording a save. 5-2 at Busch Stadium, earns his 300th career save. Tied him with Bruce Sutter at the time, and that was it.
You know, that little video reminded me of how slow it took him to get from the bullpen to the mound.
He just looked tired getting that final save. You know, getting the final outs.
Big Lee.
Chris LaRue is claimed off of waivers from Florida. The great Tom Pagnazzi, a part of that historic afternoon at Busch Stadium, too. Also saw Jose Oquendo in the background. Luis Alicea. It's our Chevy call to the pen. Chris LaRue began the season a year ago with the Marlins AAA affiliate New Orleans. As part of the World Baseball Classic for Team Canada. He's from Ontario. 1.13 ERA. Saw Pete Guerrero also in that shot.
LaRue has been with the Buccos 3 times this year. Most recently was recalled on Monday, and he struck out 3 of the 7 batters he faced in 2 scoreless innings. He's been scored upon just once in his first 7 games for the Bucs.
Yadier Molina, runners at first and second. That pitch is taken for a ball low. Molina is flying to center and also grounded out to short. 0 for 2 tonight. Yadi hits it in the air to center field. Berkman at second base. Will he tag up? He'll draw a throw. 1 hop to the shortstop and cutoff man. 2 away. So 2 outs, and here is Rafael Furcal. Pretty deep for Rafael Furcal. The switch hitter, the shortstop for the Redbirds. Runners at first and second. 5-4 Cardinals here in the bottom of the 5th.
Switch hitter for Furcal, his natural side and power side is right-handed. Left-handed is more of a slap hitter and utilizes speed. So I agree with the assessment that the outfielder's too deep.
0-1 pitch. Inside. One of those cases now, if you're LaRue, you fall behind. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. But if you do fall behind, third base is open. You've got pitcher's spot. Jackson on deck, but we've seen him swing the bat just fine. 1-2. He's going after him.
Should go after him. You know, it's an 8th place hitter. Batting .206. A little better than that as a Cardinal.
The 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? No. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Question is, and I think it's a fair question, and we'll sit there and you see there where his numbers over his career. But you know, I think it's a very fair question. If he was totally healthy, how much does he have left in the tank? How productive can he be offensively?
Little chopper and tough play at first, and handled very nicely. It's Garrett Jones. Cardinals regain the lead. It's 5-4. Learn more, visit kia.com. And by the new Jumbo Breakfast Platter for just $2.99 at Jack in the Box at participating restaurants. Well, the Cardinals back on top. They have a lead of 5-4. They scored 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 more just moments ago in the 5th inning. And they have the lead 5-4. They've out-hit the Pittsburgh Pirates 9-5 in this game.
We just had our birthday girl mention something that the Cardinals have started losing at home because the arch is gone. You know, after the concert they had to resod the entire field, and maybe because of all the hot temperatures and everything, they don't want to cut the arch into the center field area. But I think that's as good a reason why we went on this losing streak as any.
Fox Tracks presented by Chevy. Now you're trying to find any reason.
That's right. You don't ever blame the players. It's always got to be something. And we know Bill Finley and his crew do a great job, but they're thick-skinned and they can handle it.
They had the U2 concert. Field was tore up, dug up, literally. And then we have a extremely hot month right after that. And the field is in very good shape. Here's a ground ball to second. Schumacher, 1 away. That's how we start playing here in the top of the 6th. Cedeno retired.
Shutdown inning for Edwin Jackson. Got the bottom 3 of the order. McHenry's reached on an error in that fatal 3rd inning, and then also had a double and RBI in the 4th.
McHenry known for his glove and blocking balls in the dirt. The catcher. Where's number 55 for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Of course, he came from the Colorado Rockies organization, so Clint Hurdle and some of the others knew of his talent. And with all the problems they've had with catchers, they said, hey, let's pick this kid up.
1-0 pitch. Big gap in right center. 1 ball, 1 strike. Edwin Jackson is due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 6th. We may see him pinch hit for in that inning. 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
96 miles an hour, so he still has the fastball here in the 6th inning. He's right at 98 pitches. So that'd be part of the factoring in of pinch hitting for him.
And the 1-2. Fly ball. Craig coming on and drops in for a base hit.
And that's probably the first ball that we could say that if you had one of your other center fielders that ball would be caught. But Tony La Russa told me before the game he'd have Alan Craig with 3 at-bats, and Alan Craig has done his part, 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, but doesn't quite have the speed to come in on that ball, so he plays it conservatively.
Darno is the pinch hitter, Chase Darno.
He just came off the disabled list also today.
Jackson would love the double play here.
And Dan, one other factor about that ball falling in. Dave McKay will tell Alan Craig, because you're not accustomed, particularly in center field, that I want you to play deeper. You play deeper, and if balls fall in front of you, fine, but we don't want anything go over your head or in the gaps.
On 1 pitch. Instead of check on the runner at first. If you had your starter in the game, you might keep him in the spot to bunt, but a reliever was in that spot. Now you burn a position player if you're looking to bunt. Instead, it could be a double play. Out at second. And safe at first, Darno. That's one where maybe Schumacher takes it himself.
So we get the lead runner. Darno is playing third base. And the pitcher spot is batting behind Jones in the 6th spot.
So 2 outs and a runner at first.
Tabata is hitting. It's his 18th game against the Cardinals. The first 17 he's gotten a base hit in every game. And here he's 0 for 2 with a hit batsman.
Two outs, runner at first. Tabata the hitter. And here comes a 1-0 pitch. Picked by Molina. Wow, flat footed. Still throws a strike to first.
Now he's only got 2 pickoffs this year because hardly anybody strays away from first. 39 in his career. And he made that play very close, flat footed, as you said.
Tabata hit by a pitch, struck out, so grounded back to Jackson. 0 for 2 on the night. Big gap in left center. The 2-0 pitch. Runner is going. Chance for Yachty. Throws wide. Stolen base for Darno.
Shortstop covering, and Yachty's throw just really kind of to his backside. Nice job just to catch that ball. Then you see him try to deke him to get him to come off the bag.
Seeing red, these are guys that have feasted on Cardinal pitching. Ramirez, Lee, Utley, and Tabata. 17-game hitting streak. That's on the line tonight.
That's all the games. This is the 18th game he's ever played against the Cardinals. He's hit in every one of them, and also has personally a 10-game hitting streak on the line.
2 balls and 1 strike. Pitch sharply to Schumacher. Backhands makes the play. Positioned perfectly. Midway through 6. Jackson due up first when we come back. cardinals.com at bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit cardinals.com for details.
John Jay is going to pinch hit for Edwin Jackson, and then he'll go into play center field, would be our decision or our conclusion. And Zepchinski will come in to pitch. Like to see him.
So John Jay leads it off. Here we go in the bottom of the 6th. Pinch hitting for Jackson. 296 average, 8 home runs. He's driven in 31. Then we'll see the top of the lineup. Shoots it out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Edwin Jackson was 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs. Only 1 was earned. 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. He can be the winner if the bullpen holds on.
Tied him up in on his hands, and it's hit out of play. John Jay, we haven't seen the numbers that we were hoping to see after the trade of Colby Rasmus.
And really, it's 2 years in a row. You know, his numbers went down after Ludwig was traded at the All-Star break last season, and they went down this year after Colby Rasmus was traded. Still has done a fine job for the Cardinals in 296.
And slaps it the other way for a leadoff base hit.
John Jay hit 300 last year, and he's flirting with it once again. A little speed here with Jay at the first base and Schumacher at the plate, holding on to the runner at first for the left-handed batter, leaves that hole open on the right side. For 3, the average up to 302 now. He had 5 consecutive hits when he came in today. He had a hit on Tuesday night in the 9th inning, and then 4 for 4 yesterday.
Strike 1 to Schumacher. The Cardinals offensively have been a very good team this year. Let's see with this combination if they want to try something with John Jay and Schumacher at the plate. Try to be a little bit more aggressive tonight after the stolen base of Alan Craig. Last 5 teams to lead the National League in hitting. 08 Cardinals, no postseason, but the other 4 teams on to postseason play.
And they lead the National League in hitting again this year.
And a fly ball out to left. Jay back to the bag at first, and there's 1 away.
The hitting the Cardinals have had this year, and just 21 walk-off losses. Just half of those, which is extremely high numbers. So if you were at half that, you'd be right in the middle of the pennant race, if not leading.
Jackson tonight, the starter. You get a look at Alan Craig, 5 hits in 6 innings that he allowed. 4 runs, an error. Behind him, that was by Freeze. 1 sacrifice, a steal, a couple of strikeouts. 106 pitches tonight for Edwin Jackson. A swing and a miss by Craig.
assume that Alan Craig, this will be his final at bat of the night. He's got his average up to 328. He was batting, I believe, 336 when he got hurt and then missed a third of the season with a fractured kneecap. He's come back and picked up right where he left off with the hit after an 0 for 11.
He's hurt on a fly ball in Houston that hurt that leg, and he was just starting to really come into his own too.
Right. Then he was 0 for 11 and got a start in Pittsburgh and made the most of it.
Here's the 0-2. Ball scoots away, advancing John Jay to second with 1 out.
Wild pitch, and I think the catcher just tapped his chest protector and said, "That's my fault."
It's also limping back to get back to his position behind the plate. Stretching out, yeah. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Alan Craig. It's a wild pitch charge to the right-hander.
They said here should score. John Jay.
2-2. Outfield deep for Craig. The 2-2. Chased it, struck out. Here's Pujols. You have first base open, and there's that situation for LaRue again. Do you deal with Albert here, or with Holiday with runners at first and second?
We saw that Clint Hurdle more than happy to give a free pass. He's trying to get the attention of his catcher, and he just puts up the 4. So Albert will be denied the opportunity. Albert's 11th intentional pass this year. That is way down, as clubs have respected Matt Holliday and Berkman behind him.
Pujols tonight with a pair of runs scored, down the mid-80s in that department. This will be his second walk.
Holiday is 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs this year, following an intentional pass to Pujols. In his career, 9 for 29, 3 home runs and 18 RBIs. Remember, they had a few words last time Matt was at the plate, so probably doing a little politicking. The home plate umpire was saying, you know, hey, you're right, I was wrong, but make sure they're strikes.
Holiday hit one to deep right last time up. Reached on an error and also popped out to first. Cardinals with another good opportunity. 2 outs, 2 on for Matt Holliday. Outfield deep. First pitch to him. Inside. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Just missed. 2-0.
Fastball inside. Just to kind of wake him up a little bit, then tries to throw that slider away.
Here's a 2-0 to Matt Holliday. Ripped to the third baseman for an out. That saves a base hit and possibly 2 runs. the Pittsburgh Pirates, NL Central rivals. You'll see that Fox Saturday Baseball this weekend on Fox Channel 2. Zubchinski takes over for St. Louis, and he's had, just I don't know if you want to say an odd role here in St. Louis, but really a non-defined role at this point.
I can't agree with you more. He was the centerpiece of the trade sending Kobe Rasmus to Toronto back on July 27th. He's worked 2 innings or more and 9 appearances this year, including 2 scoreless innings on Tuesday. When you looked at, we see his numbers, pitched very well as a Cardinal. He pitched very well with the Blue Jays, but when you saw the numbers that he's held lefties to a 158 average this year, plus just 3 extra base hits. Lefties were 12 for 76. You thought he was going to be our left-handed specialist, but once we got Arthur Rhodes, they've kind of put him in this role where they've talked about, hey, we really like him. He could be a long man, even be a starter in the future. He's only 25, but it just seemed like when you coveted some effective left-handed relief, and there's times when there's more than one lefty on a team, where you could use Rhodes and Zubchinski in that role, but they like him more as an innings eater.
They said in Toronto more of a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, and here he's mixed in a changeup. There's a ground ball to the second baseman Schumacher, and that's how we start the top of the 7th. 1 away.
When you're coming out of the bullpen, you really don't need much more than 2, but as he's this role, if you're a starter or if you're going to go multiple innings where you may face a guy more than once, then you start adding that 3rd or 4th pitch.
You're looking at the Rasmus deal and thinking about what you get back, and we didn't know much about him. Plays in Toronto. Right. You don't follow the Blue Jays all that much.
Just look at the numbers, and it's impressive, and he's pitched well, and no doubt he has the ability to get right-handers out.
Tony talking about the fact that he just needs some experience. 1-0 is hit to center. John Jay makes the catch. 2 outs. And right now he's getting 2, 3, and 4, and he's gotten the first 2.
A hard hit ball right there, but John Jay, who just went in after his at bat to play center field, makes that with ease.
Neil Walker is the hitter.
Switch hitter, turns around to the right side.
And a strike. You also have to figure in that Zubchinski, knowing it was a big deal and that a lot had been made of him being a big part of it coming back to St. Louis, that there's some added pressure there, coming to a new team, wanting to impress.
And he kind of was a starter at times with Toronto.
Pitch sharply for a Kyle. Let's stretch. Cardinals on top 5-4. 7 pitches for the lefty. easy drinking Busch Light. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope. With Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. Lance Berkman. Berkman, Freese, and Molina. And that pitch is taken low and away. Berkman has put up a remarkable season, a bounce back year, and you'd like to see him along with Pujols and Schumacher also get to that 300 mark. Those gaudy numbers for a full season.
Has hit 300, just at 300 since the All-Star break.
1 ball, 1 strike. It's Berkman here, and then Freese and Molina. LaRue has given Pittsburgh some decent innings here.
No doubt about it. He's scheduled to be the first hitter in the bottom of the 7th inning, but he's in his 3rd inning of work, 2nd full inning.
1-2 on Berkman. A swing and a miss, but he will reach as that ball scoots away. So strikeout, but the Cardinals have a base runner. David Freese with a big RBI base hit that scored 2 back in the 5th to give the Cardinals a lead.
Score another wild pitch on the strikeout as Berkman reaches. David, as I mentioned, already career in home runs and RBIs.
Runner at first, and the first pitch to Freese with nobody out. Taken for a ball up and in. On the air tomorrow at 6:30 here on Fox Sports Midwest. Westbrook and McDonald. Very short lead at first by Lance Berkman. Cardinals with 10 hits tonight as they'll take a look at Berkman at first. They've out-hit Pittsburgh 10-6. Redbirds have stranded 8 on the night.
David Freese very good at going to the opposite field. There's Watson, left-hander, warming up.
Outfield is straight away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Freese. Now up to 28 RBIs. A bloop single down the right field line that scored 2.
An awful lot of attention to Berkman, as maybe in their minds they think a hit and run could be on.
Runner was going, and it's a high fly ball into deep right. So Berkman retreats back to the bag at first, and there's 1 away.
Pitcher doing what he needs to do is he was backing up first base.
So here is Yadier Molina. 1 out and a runner at first. Here's the 0-1 pitch and a check swing by Yachty.
Slider or that breaking ball really fooling some of the Cardinal hitters. A sweeping breaking ball.
The Cardinals picked up 2 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the fifth. 10 hits in the night. They lead it 5-4. Molina with a fly ball to center twice and is grounded out to short. And a short lead at first by Berkman. They're straight away for the Cardinal catcher. And the 0-2 pitch. Right now, those two cannot get on the same page.
Yachty wants to set the tone, and so does the pitcher, LaRue.
And Yachty, little gamesmanship here. Now he calls time. And a swing and a miss. Molina strikes out.
Set up outside. Hits the outside. Hits his target. It's his 3rd strikeout.
Rafael Furcal with 2 outs and a runner at first base. Furcal is 1 for 3, single back in the second inning. Average only at 205. Cardinals still waiting for that offense to come around. But without question, he's been an upgraded shortstop.
That's what I said. You know, I mean, missed all that time, and I'd like to see what he does and see what he has left offensively.
Furcal out in front and pulls it foul.
He was earlier in his career, he was one of the most exciting players in the game.
Speed, great arm, outstanding range.
Switch hitter that could hit from both sides.
Little pop too occasionally. And the 0-1 pitch, 2 for Cowell. Popped up. Foul territory, playable, and we head to the 8th. Cardinals 5, Pirates 4. Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals lead it by the score of 5-4 as we take a look at Rasmus and what he's done so far with the Toronto Blue Jays. Zepchinski is still in the ball game, so you see he's hitting just .216, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 22 strikeouts in 23 games for Colby Rasmus. Not a lot has changed. That's how he was hitting with the Cardinals at the tail end last month and a half, 2 months here in St. Louis.
Zepchinski now with one good inning tonight. He's got his ERA under 1.
See that pitch right there, Al, on lefties where it could be very, very effective.
Well, as I said, with his numbers with Toronto were outstanding against lefties.
You wonder if this will be the only man that he'll face here with Garrett Jones. 0-2. And you've got a right-hander on deck and a right-hander getting loose in the bullpen.
Jason Mott is the righty.
Jones 1 for 2. Single, walk, pair of RBIs, and that was back in the third.
There's Mott, who's just been outstanding for a couple months, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's been a span of nearly 20, 25 games. Just been terrific. And the thing is, Al, when you watch Mott, he's starting to develop that little cutter that's become more effective. Location has been good with the fastball. So he's getting loose.
Cutchin getting loose, right-hander for Pirates.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Matt Diaz is at the on-deck circle, as that's where the pitcher spot is, and then Daniel McCutcheon warming up. Diaz has hit left-handed pitchers very well of late.
Zepchinski with a 2-2 and a base hit. Was out in front, 0-2. Couple of balls, and now a 2-2 base hit. The tying run is on.
Didn't get that ball up high enough or more inside. Left it down and in. Those guys are low ball hitters from the left side. You see that one just right down in his wheelhouse. Hit hard, right back up the middle, and we'll have a pitching change as Mott will come in. Zepchinski 1+ inning. He allowed the 1 hit, responsible for the runner at first base. So we'll be back after this and see where the Cardinals hanging on to a 5-4 lead and playing in the 8th inning. Jason Mott will come in here. He leads the ball club in appearances and holds. You see that 1.76 ERA. That is 8th best among National League relievers. He's had 15 consecutive scoreless appearances. He's only allowed 4 base runners during that stretch. covering 12 1/3 innings, 2 walks, a hit batter, and a 1 hit allowed. He has really established himself late in the season as really a go-to guy with men on base. Xavier Paul will now run for Garrett Jones. Diaz to come in here, and as I said, he was hitting left-handers very well and forced Tony to go to the bullpen. He's been a good pinch hitter over the years, but not a lot of success this season against the Cardinals. Just 2 for 15.
Let's see if they're bunting in this spot. Runner at first, nobody out.
With Diaz, it's not a bunt.
Yep, I mean, I agree, Al, but you know, this spot, when do you think that this is what you want to do?
A lot of times, you know, managers will play to win on the road. Home teams play for the tie because, you know, if it goes to extra innings, they still have an advantage. Diaz does. He's tied for second in the National League with 11 pinch hits, 11 for 42.
Runner is going. Chance for Molina. Fires to second. And safe. Nice pick by Furcal to make that close. It may have gotten away from him.
Wasn't the perfect throw we so accustomed to see the short hop, and that pulled him up. It's a short hop, hits there, then your glove comes up, then the ball came out. Didn't have control of it. Ball did beat Paul, but no control by the defender. Now Diaz hits .269 with runners in scoring position.
One ball, 1 strike.
That's a big play. Nobody
sure is.
out.
Corners are in, and that pitch is taken low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike on Diaz. But right now, I don't think there's anybody else that you would want in this game than the guy that you have on the mound and the kind of run that he's on, and that's Mott, and also a guy that can strike out the side and get out of the center.
That's what you put him out there. He's been Tony's go-to guy with the runners on base. He's inherited major league high of base runners. This would be his 56th inherited runner. Only 18 have scored, and most of those were early in the season. Tony trying to get the attention of his defense.
It's Descalso at third. The 1-2 pitch. Hit to the right side. Pujols' only play is to Mott, covering the bag at first. So a productive out by Diaz, and here's where Mott has to come through if he can with a strikeout. I was talking with him the other day in Chicago, and I said, what is it, a cutter or a slider? He says, I don't really know. I think it's both, but I know it's been better.
Yeah.
So he's throwing that around, 90 to 92. And then you couple that out with a fastball that's 96 to 98. That's pretty nasty.
I even talked to Tony about, the rest of the way, giving Mott some chances to close. And in his mind, he still has to work on, a secondary pitch to get left-handers out. But he had totally agreed. He's on quite a roll. And now, like the other night, you have to infield in. Second baseman Schumacher going to charge in, but they're looking for a pop-up or a strikeout.
Cedeno fouls it back for strike 1. Ronnie Cedeno, former Cub and Mariner, fly to center. Doubled and scored in the 4th, and also grounded out to second. 1 for 3 on the night.
How much you like a squeeze play? A hard thrower like Mott, though, and a guy that throws a lot of balls up, might be hard to get a bunt down.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Mott really didn't want to talk about the current run that he's on. He said, I don't want to jinx it. But believe me, it feels good, he said.
Yeah, you just go out and enjoy it as long as you possibly can.
The 1-1 pitch, infield drawn in. Cedeno hits it out of play. Now there's 2 strikes.
Now you really can go for the strikeout. Can't strike a batter out until you get 2 strikes. A lot of times, you know, you're planning ahead and you can make a fatal mistake of saying, okay, I'm going to do this, do that, and then I'm going to get you out on this pitch. But you didn't have 100% concentration on those first 2 and you don't get to the 3rd one.
In the dirt, 2-2.
98. 3 for 5, a home run against Jason Mott. So pretty good fastball hitter, but you have to believe your fastball is better than a good fastball hitter.
I'm going to call time here and get on the same page. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Looked like that Tony may have told Molina to go out and talk to Mott.
On deck, McHenry. But this is the man here with 2 balls and 2 strikes.
They do have Doman, who's a pretty good offensive catcher, on that bench. Here's your ball game.
The 2-2 spoiled by Cedeno.
98 was supposed to be a fastball elevated, get him to chase that or pop it up, and threw it right at the bottom of the strike zone. And Tony Payson probably trying to clean the dugout. Fastball up, wants the ball up. Look at the glove.
2-2 again. Got him. Strikeout of Cedeno. He hit his spot. And that's a big, big strikeout for Mott.
That's what he was trying to do with the pitch before. And you look at how much they accentuate up. Look at watch his glove. And then he gets up even higher. Right there. The only thing you can do in that is pop that ball up or swing through it.
Ryan Domet will be the pinch hitter. And so here's what you're talking about, Al, having that pitch that can get a lefty out. Key spot here, runner at third, and Mott has come in and gotten 2 outs after we saw that the leadoff man Jones got a base hit against Subchinski.
Well, and here's telling you that how much confidence Tony has in Mott, that he doesn't even have Arthur Rhodes warming up. Never did get up, so he feels he has the right man with that runner at third. Now there are 2 outs.
First pitch to Domet, up and in for ball 1.
Domet had a broken ankle this year, cost him a couple months. Came back and really went on a hot spree. Had a 4-for-4 game against the Cardinals, including a home run.
1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last 30 games of the Pirates, he's hitting above 300. And with Pittsburgh, 54 home runs as a Pirates catcher. That's 3rd all time behind Jason Kendall and former Cardinal Tony Pena. Kendall was 66, Pena 63. 2-1.
For 3 when facing Jason Mott.
Strike 2.
Domet likes fastballs, but not these high octane ones. And you know, a hitter can kind of cheat his swing a little bit, but then he's going to almost pull off the pitch. And so if you can spot that ball away like the last one, you can't do much with it. Dominantly a low ball hitter. Here's his breaking ball.
And a 2-2 pitch. Pulled foul.
Credit for throwing it, but you know, I understand working on that pitch. But if you get, you know, if you're going to get beat, and what I mean by that is, in this case, allow that tying run. Sure seems like you better do it with your best pitch, your fastball. Down the road, you know, that's going to be a pitch he needs to develop, but you don't want to do it at the expense of winning a game. This is a good pitch here. Fastball away.
The 2-2 in the air. This should do it. Let's listen to the crowd for Jason Mott. Catch is made. Ticket discounts in July and now doing so in August. If you'd like to find out more or to purchase the discounted tickets, visit cardinals.com/neighbor. It's 5-4 as we move to the bottom of the 8th. A reminder, our $5 sale will end tonight at midnight. Great work by Mott. $5 for select tickets. Good seats for the Milwaukee series, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up next. But they have 2,000 seats for 3 games against Milwaukee for only $5 a piece. And that sale will end tonight at midnight. Cardinals.com/5, and those have gone very, very quickly. Cardinals.com/5. It ends at midnight tonight. Tony Watson, the new pitcher for Pittsburgh.
Tony Watson was just called up Saturday from AAA, and he picked up his first big league win that afternoon, but got roughed up 4 runs on 4 hits and 1 inning work on Monday's doubleheader. Just been scored upon in just 7 times in his first 27 big league games.
John Jay with a base hit came in for Alan Craig in center, and that's his second hit of the night off the sidewall. He'll dig for 2. Jay on his way to second. That's a big insurance run out there in the bottom of the 8th if the Cardinals can bring him in. Jay 2 for 2.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Pile on right now and make it a little easier for Salas, who's warming up.
Our Nissan drive of the game going to the opposite way. Just sneaks in that third base line, and John Jay hitting the bag and not looking back.
Saw the third baseman.
Ryan Terry will be the pinch hitter here for Schumacher.
They were playing off the line, and so that ball inside the bag and off the side wall was an extra base hit. Here's Terrio.
Well, let's see if the Cardinals will bunt here with Ryan Terrio. See his numbers this year: .272 average, a home run, 40 driven in.
Remember we talked about last inning, on the road you play for the win. At home, you know, you play for a tie, or you know, they're going to add to your lead.
Good bunt by Terrio. Sacrifice good. Would have been very close if Watson decided to go to third. Would have been one of those bang bang plays, but he did not. Take a look here.
See, right there, he's got plenty of time. Now, Doman just came in this game. He's usually telling the pitcher what to do, but a lot of times, you've got to assume a ball you get to that quickly, you've got time to really give a good look. And if you decide to go to first, you still would do that crow hop and throw him out.
The home plate umpire has gone over, and
it's a pitcher spot, dude.
Yeah.
So it's Mott's spot, and they're going, where's your hitter?
Mott is at the spot. Once occupied by Craig, and now Gerald Laird will be your hitter.
Now, the only the only position player you have left now is Corey Patterson. The Pirates are out of position play.
Now, you talked about the bunt before. A guy that doesn't get a lot of recognition for being a very good bunter is coming up, and that's Gerald Laird. Would you think about doing that here?
It would surprise a lot of people if he dropped down a squeeze. Gerald Laird, he got his first National League and home run yesterday. Done a nice job in the few times he has caught. You got the infield in.
And Laird looks at a ball low. Never forget the bunt that he dropped down in New York that surprised everybody.
Yeah, it was 2 out squeeze bunt single there in the 8th inning on July 20th. He has hit 300, in the 10, hitting 10 of the last 11 starts at 300.
Made a start yesterday, 1 ball, 1 strike, runner at third. With just 1 out, 5-4. St. Louis, their half of the 8th. The Cardinals with 2 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 2 more in the 5th. On an RBI base hit by David Freese to put the Cardinals on top by a run. Big run out there at third base.
They banking on a sac fly.
2 strikes now on Laird.
Jason Mott did his job once again.
Evens it up at 2-2. Laird, no base hits as a pinch hitter this year, only 3 opportunities. Infield is in with a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th. Outfield is straight away and fairly deep for Laird.
All you have to do is hit a 300-foot fly ball. You got another run.
2-2 and a swing and a miss. Big strikeout, and it brings in Pujols. This is Watson's inning. No one has been getting loose in the bullpen for Pittsburgh. That was right down the middle, and Laird just missed it. Pujols has walked twice. Will they make it a 3rd time?
Well, there's no doubt they have to put him on. And then you might think about Holiday too.
Load him up. Force play in any bag. So Watson will not pitch to Pujols. It'll be runners at 1st and 3rd for Matt Holliday.
Second intentional pass, his 3rd walk of the night.
And I think you would agree, the logical play.
But the damage that he's done against the Pittsburgh, even though Clint Hurdle's first year, yes, I agree. I don't like to see it, but I agree with him.
Fans don't like to see it. Some of the booing the move here, as you always hear when Albert Pujols is walked, whether it's intentional or not. So runners at the corners for Holliday. Time called by Doman. Wants to talk to Watson about Matt Holliday. He's reached on an error and 0 for 3 on the night.
I going to send the pitching coach out to talk to him, and maybe very simple is like, hey, pitch around it. If he wants to get, Holiday wants to get himself out by expanding the zone, so be it. If you walk him, okay, you bring up Berkman, the switch hitter, you turn him over to what everyone considers his weaker side. But if you do that, you better get him out.
Are you surprised that maybe they haven't gone with a righty in this spot against Holiday?
It is a little
very
surprising.
Young player in Watson, the lefty.
But, even though Clint Hurdle is trying to win as many games as possible, you got to find out something about the makeup of your own players.
Runners at first and third. Matt Holliday with 18 home runs. He's driven in 64 this year. First pitch to him. Take it for a strike. 92 with a fastball. The 0-1 pitch to Holiday with runners at the corners. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Only other action that's still going on right now in Major League Baseball, Houston leading the Giants 2-1. That's in the top of the 4th. Everything else is a final. The play behind Pujols in this spot. The runner at first, the 1-1. Holiday crushes this one. Deep left. Track. Wall. Kebab. They want Pujols. Holiday. Made him pay.
If you walk Pujols, or if you're going to pitch around Holiday, you got to make sure you get him out. And that was a no-doubter. And this crowd is loving every minute of it, as they've seen the Cardinals come play the baseball that they've come to expect. Challenge him, and right there, Matt Holiday knew it all the way. The Fox Expo cam, as he made connections with his fastball, and they just knew that it drops that bat. He had to watch it a little bit, but he started his trot right away.
And may have put this game out of reach. It's a 4-run lead now, 8-4, and Salas getting loose. When they initially picked up Matt Holiday, that was one of the main reasons why, to hit behind Albert Pujols.
But we found that not only do you need one, but you really need two to hit behind him, and it really helps if you have one hitting in front of him. But Holiday, his 19th home run, RBI 65, 66, 67, and a big 4-run cushion.
Ooh, and that's behind Berkman.
And how does that ball get behind and nobody says a word? Sure, Tony's yelling something or talking to the umpire, is almost hitting him in the rear end. Came out the mound, gave him a new baseball, and kind of looked at the Cardinal dugout.
Yeah, waiting for somebody to say something.
I thought somebody was.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
But it did look very odd.
Looking ahead, the Pirates down by 4 runs. 2 balls, 2 strikes here in the bottom of the 8th. And that's a strikeout of Berkman, but the damage has been done. Matt Holiday, 3-run homer. Cardinals on top.
the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Pat Paris, Rick Horton will be at Lumiere Place tonight. Cardinals try to get back in the win column. Some 2-out magic from the Cardinals tonight, and we'll have Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts as well. A look at Matt Holliday, who had the big blow in this one, as we send it back to the booth. And Dan and Al, guys.
All right, Jim, great job as always. 8-4 as we head to the ninth. The ball absolutely crushed by Matt Holliday to give the Cardinals a little cushion. I think another thing you have to think about, too, Al, is the job once again by Jason Mott. What a job he did coming in.
No doubt about it. Sapinski gave you a good inning, and he allowed a base runner, and Mott came in and cleaned that up. It's not a save situation, but he's blown 5 saves this season. Suffered his 5th loss and 5th blown save on Monday. So good to get him back out there. Good to give him a little cushion where he can go out and just have a good inning to get back and feeling good about himself.
It really was one of the toughest losses of the year, and that's saying something because there's been some really tough ones.
No doubt about it, but you know, Carpenter pitched so brilliantly. Hit the first man in the 8th inning, and Tony said if it would have been a right-handed batter coming up, he would have left Carpenter in there. But it was lefty Ethier, brought in Arthur Rhodes, who struck him out for the first out, and he felt pretty good about it. Brought in Salas to face Miles, and he hit a RBI triple, and then later scored as Rojas hit a hard ground ball to shortstop as they have the infield in and play at the plate. It was a poor throw.
Strikeout for Salas to start the ninth. Cardinals have put up 6 runs. Matter of fact, they've done 8 here tonight. So 6 a serious number. Get 25-cent drinks tomorrow all day and On the Run at Mobile. Post-game show coming up with all the highlights and analysis. You'll hear from Tony La Russa. Cardinals 2 outs away from a win.
I want to be nice to talk about a Cardinal win again.
1 out, nobody on. Tabata back to the top of the lineup for the Pirates. Started the game being hit by a pitch from Edwin Jackson. He struck out, hit into a fielder's choice, and then grounded out to second. 0 for 3. And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Dan, you look at this game, it's really the formula for winning games. You know, starter goes 6 innings. Jackson will in line for his 10th victory. You get some good relief pitching. You have plenty of offense, 12 hits, 8 runs. The big 3 are in the middle of a lot of the offensive production, and the supporting cast did their job.
That's the way it's supposed to be, isn't it?
It really is.
And that's what John Mozeliak and Tony La Russa have talked about this year, the inconsistency of having it all come together. 2-2 the count. Could see a hitting streak come to a close for Tabata against St. Louis. Final hope right here, it's 3-2.
Could be a personal 10-game hitting streak come to an end also, but this is 18th game against the Cardinals, and he's hit in all previous 17.
A 3-2 pitch. Ground ball hit to short. Nice hop forward for Kyle. 2 down. No surprise here. Let's turn to our player of the game, Matt Holliday. It's presented by Budweiser. Moments ago, his 3-run homer, 19th of the year. RBI 65, 66, 67. Alex Presley. Final hope for Pittsburgh here in game 1 of this 4-game series. 8-4. Top of the ninth, 2 down, nobody on. Strike 1 from Salas.
Cardinal fans have been wanting to cheer all homestand. On their feet in support.
The 0-1 pitch. And a fly ball into right. This should do it. Corey Patterson is there, and the Cardinals win it 8-4.
Good ball game, Dan. Everything came together. Good starting pitching. The relief was there. Plenty of offense, and the insurance runs supplied by Matt Holliday with that 3-run home run in the 8th really did help.